Hey there, Knicks fans. How you doing? It's your boy Jonathan Macri with you for another episode of the Knicks Film School Podcast. I'm here with someone I haven't podcasted one-on-one with since our last Patreon episode.
Yeah, probably. Sounds right. Hi, John.
Which was when?
A while ago, probably before either early January or late December.
I think it was probably late December, my goodness.
Might have been our last pod of 2024.
Yeah.
To wrap up the year. But regardless, good morning, John. Happy Valentine's Day. No other person I'd rather be spending Valentine's Day with than with you.
For a second. So for anybody listening, Andrew just raised a glass of what looks like iced tea or something.
Oh no, you know what my drink.
Oh, sorry.
It is a big Red Bull. Yeah.
It is a big Red Bull. But when I can't I could only see the very top of the glass. And maybe this is what kind of mindset I'm in today. I only saw the top of it. I'm like, is he drinking bourbon or scotch neat today? Because it was lower and I could only see the top.
I haven't evolved to that yet, but we'll see.
Listen, wait till you have a couple kids. It's 8:39 in the morning. Trust me,
kids. I really don't understand day drinking until I have kids. There you go.
Day drinking. You couldn't understand the impetus to have a stiff one before it's 9 a.m. Not that I ever do that. I have coffee, and I swear there's nothing alcoholic in my coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we? We're on Valentine's Day, which is 2 or 3 days or whatever before this episode is going to be released. So hopefully the All-Star weekend went well and everybody came out of it unscathed, I guess, right?
I very much hope unscathed is the word we could talk about. Guess what? We will probably have interrupted our vacations with some type of emergency if something happened before during All-Star weekend and before it was time for us to come back or before this gets posted. So yes, hopefully everything happened with just entertainment. Jalen Brunson won the 3-point contest. Cat and Brunson were great in this new format and everybody enjoyed it.
I have a question for you. How much of the All-Star weekend festivities will you be partaking in?
So the Saturday night one, my cousin and I, and again, it's weird to talk about something that has already happened in the past, but I'm seeing my cousin in Florida Saturday, and we've planned our night around the Saturday night festivities. I actually very much enjoy, as like a tradition, watching the Saturday night stuff. It stinks the dunk contest is ass now, but I very much still enjoy that night. The game has become so much a scrimmage that I don't. Summer League's more entertaining than the All-Star game at this point.
We have, I forget if it's 8:15 or 8:30 reservations in Boca on Sunday night. So I will not be partaking in the game at all. The dunk contest for probably 15 to 20 years of my life, so like half of my life, was one of my 5 favorite sporting events of the year. As ridiculous as that sounds, I loved it. And even after it started to get like the big names stopped doing it, I still loved it. Because to me, it was like, I don't know. I just loved it. It was the same. Everybody loves the dunk contest. It's a dunk contest. And then did McClung win last year?
Yep. And the year before.
Okay. And his dunks were good both years. I'm pretty sure. But so I'm saying, I'm sitting here and be like, I think they were pretty good. I remember being mildly entertained by the thing last year. I remember enjoying the Steph Sabrina thing last year, which they're not doing again. That was a sneaky little press release that they got out there on a Thursday night. And then the 3-point shootout. So I don't know. I guess I'll probably watch the 3-point shootout. And I don't know if
it's in today's NBA, it's the more entertaining product, It
is. And yet I don't know. Is it weird to say it's almost lost its luster because the 3 has become, I don't want to get into the whole 3-point discussion, but because threes are as prevalent as they are, it's not even as, I don't know.
So what you're saying is they need to make it a 4-point contest and expand it out and get rid of the corner 3 in the contest.
That's such a first takey thing to say, and yet I think I agree with you. I actually think they maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if they added a 4-point line or Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's crazy, but yeah.
I would watch if it was a 4-point contest. Well, listen, I hope everybody enjoys whatever they do on Saturday night, or enjoyed whatever they did on Saturday night. It's going to be interesting if something actually happens that was notable on Saturday night, and this happened in the past for people listening. But
and Wemby's playing tonight, right? Isn't he doing the rookie or whatever counts for the rookie game now? Rookie sophomore thing?
You've officially gone past how much I paid attention to.
Okay, let's get to the episode today.
There you go.
We're here to talk about. Which you're going to intro, because I don't know what the hell we're doing here.
So before the season, we did what we normally do. We made our predictions based off of the Claudio Casino betting lines that were generated by the luxurious and highly acclaimed Claudio Casino down in Las Vegas Boulevard over in Nevada. Several lines were created, and both John and Jeremy made their over or under picks for the season. We're going to check in on our Claudio Casino lines and see how John and Jeremy are doing so far.
Should we open a KFS illegal betting service?
Everybody's doing it. Why not?
I feel like doesn't the house always win with this stuff?
Yes, but you have to be creative with the lines. Because if you're getting equal juice on both sides, the overs and the unders, the house always wins.
Would we need to hire a heavy?
Probably.
Could you do it?
Is that because I'm heavy? Wow, John.
No, I'm a short man. That's why. You're much bigger than me.
Well, so I'm big and heavy. Wow.
You're taller. You're more You're in a more intimidating presence. I'm not intimidating at all.
I'm positive that I could make the lines and be your heavy, and then I'd probably need to also bring in the talls at Knicks Film School. Shout out to Benji. Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Chris. Sneaky tall.
Chris is very sneaky tall.
Yeah.
I don't know how intimidating Chris is, though.
Touche.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Jeremy's oddly the most intimidating of all of us, because he doesn't look intimidating, and yet so you're like looking at that guy and you're like, something's going on there. I don't want to mess with that guy.
Yep. It's the brain. It's like a Lex Luthor thing going on there.
Big brains.
Look at the big brain on Jeremy.
That's what they're gonna say when he walks in to break their knuckles.
Mm-hmm. You hand over the cards you've been counting because he convinced you to.
That's it.
So, would you like to go through the first line, Mr. Mack?
Sure.
So the first line set for the season was, how many points per game will Jalen Brunson average this season? The line was 29.9. The concept of the line, I believe, I watched a little bit of that episode this morning, was, will Jalen Brunson average 30 a game after averaging 28.7? John, do you want to know what he's averaging this season?
It's 25 point something, I believe.
26.1 after his 40... after his
36, it just went up. It was 25 point something before the last game because I checked it.
Well, he's at weirdly after an 8-point performance against the Pacers, he's up to 26.1 after his 36-point overtime performance against the Atlanta Hawks. Both you and Jeremy went under, so you're on track to hit that as of now.
I mean, for him to go over this at this point, I'm not going to try to do the math right now, but I would imagine he would need to average like something like 40 points for the rest of the year. So
something like that. Yeah. And the point you made was that leading up until January 27th last year, which was when Julius Randle went down and then they lost OG Anunoby, Jalen Brunson was averaging 26 and change per game. And then for the rest of the season, averaged close to 30 a game, which led to his 28.7. We were betting on the optimistic side for injuries. So that I think is the calculation that was made here. I will say, if I wanted to look at per 36, which is what I think I should have before the season and making this line, although it doesn't really matter because he plays close to 36 minutes anyway, Jalen Brunson is averaging per 36 minutes 26.7. So it doesn't matter. So there you go.
So I think this... me and you were looking at this right now, and we're both like, "Oh, that was ridiculously high." At the time, I maybe not struggling with it, but I remember looking at this and being like, "Man, yeah, he could definitely average over 30. Like, this is where we're trending. He is entering he's in his prime, entering his prime, whatever." And I think the takeaway from this is how this team is really about the starting five as opposed to the top guy or even the top two guys. And also scoring is down a little bit. And like last year, didn't we have 6 or 7 guys average there? I'll look it up right now. I freaking have the page up. I just need to go to the different year. Last year, last year we had 4.
4. Okay.
Yeah. And then after that, it was Brunson was the 5th leading scorer in the league. He was at 28.7. And then after that, we had 27.1 and down. This year, 2 guys averaging over 30, SGA and Giannis. Jokic is just under that at 29.8. And then you actually have Maxi's the 4th leading scorer in the league. I didn't realize that. But he's down at 27.6. So it has gone down, and Brunson is 11th in the league in scoring, for anybody wondering.
Maxey averaging 27.6 on a Sixers team that he's carrying right now because they have no talent on it outside of him.
That's good. Didn't I predict he was going to make second team All-NBA or something ridiculous in Patreon?
You did, and it's not a crazy take if his team was more cooperative. Like, he's been outstanding this year. That was the case if you were going to go the route of adding another. Here's my take. I think Maxey should be an All-Star over Trae Young. I understand what Trae Young did to the Knicks the other night, and I actually think we've gone the other way too far as Knicks fans in evaluating Trae Young. I think he's a very good basketball player. I don't like his face, so I don't like to, compliment him that often. Having said that, I think he's very good. I think Maxey just flat out has been better, and they would be 5-45 or whatever their record is now than 20-33 and competing for the 10 seed.
I mean, the wild thing is Maxey has been more efficient. He's been more efficient from the field. He's been more efficient from deep. He's been more efficient from the line. He's actually one of the most efficient free throw shooters in the league. The big difference, obviously, is Maxey's averaging 6 assists, and Trae Young is leading the league at 11.5, almost twice as much. So, people look at that playmaking as they should to some extent, because as we just saw, the playmaking is it is a weapon.
Trae and pick and roll is one of the scariest things, and that goes back to the Hawks Knicks series from 2020 or 2021, where it was unstoppable once he gets downhill. I'm just saying, every time we've had a moment of here come the Sixers, it's because Maxey has been going crazy and started averaging 30 for 2 weeks. It's not been they're healthy. That's never coincided with here come the Sixers. Maxey's been great. So that's my take there.
You know what's? I know we have a lot of bets to get to, and I was the one who's we need to get this episode along. It's wild that if you had said before the season that the Sixers would be in a place after the year where their best move as an organization would be to get what they could for Joel Embiid, get what they could for Paul George, tank their way into the top 6 draft pick and build around said draft pick and Tyrese Maxey. The craziest part is that where we're at right now, they wouldn't be able to get anything for, I mean, not that they wouldn't be able to get anything, but trading, I don't want to say that. Trading Joel Embiid and trading Paul George would not be easy today if you wanted to actually get something back, which shout out to the Patreon episode that me and DJ just recorded about the 5 worst contracts in the league,
which came out 2 days ago. So please go listen to that on our Patreon if you haven't yet. We're probably going to end up listening to that on the plane. Next up, probably get through this one pretty quickly. How many 3-point attempts per game will Karl-Anthony Towns average this season? His career high was 7.9. I set the line at 7.9. He is averaging 4.8. And I think he'd have to average DiVincenzo 13 per game the rest of the year. So I would like his 3-point volume to go up, but I also he went through a 3-week stretch where he was pretty bad from 3, and he was also very hesitant from 3. These last 2 games where he shot 18 threes are an encouraging sign, especially since he went 10 of 18 in those 2 games. So, but yeah, very efficient. I think 5th in the league right now in 3-point percentage. And especially if you're looking at guys averaging 4 attempts or more, it's even more impressive. But as far as what he is averaging, it's not super high. So
please tell me what we went under.
Both of you went under.
Okay. Again, I remember looking at this line. I remember thinking, yeah, I mean, that's maybe not an easy under, but like, I was like, boy, it would be great if he could get over that number, thinking in my head that it was actually a possibility that who knows, maybe they could convince him to get up to that. And I think we all agreed then, and we probably to some extent agree now, that as you just said, it would be better if he shot more. And yet I'm looking at the game log. He has had 9 games this year in which he has attempted at least 7 threes. And for anybody wondering, in the 9 games he has attempted 7 or more threes, the Knicks are 4-5 only. So I don't know what that says. I don't know if that means anything.
Too small a sample size, honestly. And like opponent matters. Like the 4 wins are against 2.
So the wins were the Atlanta game just the other day, the Indiana game this week, as you just referenced, the Phoenix game, the game at Phoenix where that was kind of a blowout, and then one of our watch party wins, seemed like a million years ago, against Milwaukee, when again that was also kind of a blowout and they had nobody to guard him. And we were like commenting on I remember that night we were commenting on the coverage because they had Brook Lopez on him. And they were like, why don't they put Giannis on him? And it wasn't going well. But
might as well finish the exercise. Well, the 5 losses are who?
5 losses are to both Bulls games.
Okay.
That they
went for 40 in each one, and they needed his volume because they were trying to come back. Okay.
The early season Atlanta loss where they were winning until 2.5 minutes left, and then they blew the game. That ridiculous loss in Utah, and then the loss, not the Saturday under home because he didn't play in that one. The other home loss to Detroit, which I'm actually forgetting.
That's the Monday. Yeah, it was a game. It was the 27th, I believe.
No, it was June. It was January 13th.
13th. So it was a week before Inauguration Day, not the week after. Got it.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So that's that. Yeah, he has a chance to. I looked it up this week. He's averaging 24 points a game, 53%, 0.4% from the field, 43.8% from 3, 84% from the line. There's the only player who's ever put up all of those numbers in the same season is Kevin Durant. Did it the year he his first year in Brooklyn when he only played 35 games or whatever it was.
Having a potentially award-winning or award consideration season, which a category we will get to a little later. Next up, how many rebounds per game will Josh Hart average this season? The line is 9.5. John, do you want to know what Josh Hart is currently averaging at rebounds per game?
I was about to look it up, but I didn't see it. I'm going to guess it's...
I got you. I've looked up every one, so you can just...
I'm sure you did.
If you want.
But I was going to spoil the fun. I'm going to guess he's at 9.1.
So you went over on this line. Jeremy went under. Josh Hart is currently averaging 9.6 rebounds per game. Just over. Wow. Yes. So as of right now, you would have the over, and he would have to continue with these, 10 rebound games. Shout out to Daniel over at T-Squared.
I don't think I'm going to get this. Me and Fred on the pot that did come out. He made the point that, like, of all the things Josh Hart does really well, and one of them is grabbing rebounds and starting their kind of semi-transition offense. And for as much as that will continue to be a good thing for them to do, I think with Mitch coming back, I have to think Mitch is going to gobble some of them up, but we'll see.
Well, speaking of Mitchell Robinson coming back,
I remember this.
The next line, how many games will Mitchell Robinson play for the Knicks this season? The line is 19.5. Both of you went under, and it wasn't because of a lack of faith in his health. It was because neither of you thought he'd be here on the other side of the trade deadline.
Yep.
The Knicks have 28 games left. The line is 19.5. Will he play 20 of the final 28 games? So really the question here.
So, hold on, I'm pulling up the schedule right now. So they have, after the All-Star break, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games until March. The 5th of those games is on the last day of February. It's Friday at Memphis. And Memphis has a lot of size. Maybe it wouldn't be the worst game to have him back at. The game after that, March 2nd, is at Miami. Interesting. So that, and then they're home for Golden State. Now, I don't know. Does it matter? Like, do you want to have him be home for the first game? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe none of that matters. I'm assuming he's not going to be back before March 2nd. So that would be 5 more games, which would put us at 59 games missed.
Just about, yeah.
And after that, they have, it's at least 3. I'm just going to count though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back-to-backs after that. I don't think he's hitting this number.
I don't think so either. Just by, I don't know if he comes back early enough. To your point,
he may not come back March 2nd. Maybe he could. Look, we could be sitting here in April. Like, I don't think we will be, but
yeah, I also don't know if back-to-backs matter. I think he'll still play in them. I just don't. Like, that's honestly one of my more fascinating questions out of the break is the plan for Mr. Robinson. Is not even from a managing his health and availability standpoint. Is he a 15-minute player? Is he a 25-minute player? How often does Tibbs go to the Mitch Cat lineups? Is he ever going to close a game if it's clearly cooking? Who's sitting if he's closing a game? And it's a game that he needs size. Like, it's one of the more fascinating things because of the tendencies to like, oh, I'm playing Josh Hart no matter what. I'm playing Mikal Bridges no matter what. The wing stop thing is the more fascinating development this year, which usually means Mitch Robinson's not closing, you know.
But when in doubt, what does Tibbs go with?
Size.
So
that's why I'm fascinated by it. Like,
it's a fascinating question.
Like, who sits if you need size? Like, I don't know who sits. I would imagine it's Josh Hart. I don't know because when he had the shooting available, like we saw Dante close for Josh a few times or quickly close for Josh once or twice. But
Dante would close over Josh. That happened last year.
Yes, very early in the season it would. But
early,
Josh Hart didn't start
really
games.
Struggling.
But Josh Hart didn't start games for the first 3 months of the season.
It's so funny.
It was after the injuries happened that he got inserted into the starting 5 and then never came out. And here we are.
Do you think there will come a point in time where Josh Hart is no longer a regular starter for this team, this iteration of the team, not this year?
Oh, no.
But like next year, the year after, like in this iteration of the, like, as you know, this iteration of the team.
This is a cop out. But if they got Dante back is the only way.
Oh my God! Stop. My answer
that's
is
the thing. A shooter. I like to put him back into his 6th man spot.
I don't
like a strong, like a specific 2 guard.
I don't think.
But he's Jalen's boy. He's like the clip from the Roommates pod of him calling into their show and the camaraderie that the 3 of them had. That's an uncle and his nephews. You know,
Tibbs. You mean?
Yeah. Did you not see the clip?
No, I saw the clip.
Yeah.
And the thing that warmed my heart about it is just Tibbs calling Jalen out of the blue on,
Yo. That's how he greeted Jalen Brunson on the phone. Every time I call you, I'm going to do that from now on, by the way. Next time you introduce me to a pod, I should have done that today. I apologize, everybody.
Yo.
Yo.
I think the answer is yes. I think there will come a point in time in this iteration of the team where Josh Hart will no longer be a full-time starter and he will be in the running for 6th man of the year. That's my bold prediction. Okay, what's the next one?
OG Anunoby. How many games will OG Anunoby play for the Knicks this season?
I went over on this.
Well, so the number is 49.5. You did go over on this, preaching optimism.
Yes.
He has played 49 games so far this season. So he needs to play one more game.
You motherfucker. I swear to God.
One more game.
I'm going to blame you.
One more game. That's all. The thought was, will he play 50 games this year? Because I imagine the Knicks will be really good if OG Anunoby plays 50 games at least, or he plays 60 games, and he's probably going to play like 65. So I'll take it. Hit the over.
Well,
and I'll be really good. Which, guess what? They're really good.
Hold on. With your about 65, 65 is the cutoff for all defense. So it's interesting. I'm not like 100% right now that, let's say OG plays 70. Let's say he plays 70 games, 72 games. I don't know, something like that. Is he making all defense? I don't think he has a rock solid case right now, in part because the Knicks defense has A, been kind of not great, and B, because it's not like his defensive on-off metrics are good, but they're not as good as you might expect them to be. And I don't know that he has had enough eye-popping, and it's like it's unfortunate, but also a reality that when Steele, with the Amin Thompson stuff and like the Dyson Daniels certainly, and who's the other one on Houston? Tari Eason, viral clips of those guys, like OG had some of those during a portion of this year, but he didn't have a lot of them early, and he obviously hasn't had much lately because he's been out. So I don't know if there's going to be enough of a case to build around him. I think it's on the fence. I think I hope he makes it. I think he has a chance. I hope he does.
Because it's not positions anymore. There's not like a guarantee that 4 forwards make it. So that's why, there's a world we see 5 centers on the 2 all defense teams, and it kind of pushes them out.
Yeah,
so that's why I would also lean no. To your point, though, I do think he'll meet the criteria. I shouldn't have said about 65 games, but I am also factoring in that this is an injury-prone player. When he comes back, I hope he's back for good, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, Davis may not make the criteria. That could open up a spot.
Giannis
may not make the criteria. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah.
So I don't know if you want to do it, but Wemby lock.
No, let's very, very quickly. Wemby lock, Jaren Jackson,
Triple J lock. Dyson Daniels lock. Celtics probably not. And maybe they go Derek White, but I doubt it.
I don't know that any Celtics. Mobley. Did you say Mobley?
Mobley lock.
Amin Thompson lock. Dyson Daniels lock. That's 5 locks.
Yeah.
Is Eason a lock? No.
Keep going and we'll find out.
Suggs is not going to get the games.
Right.
I don't think. Bam. I don't know that Bam is a lock this year.
I don't know about a lock. I would think he makes it though. If you're pointing to one thing the Heat do well, they're top 10 defense.
Yeah, he probably gets on. Is Chris Dunn? He's played a lot of games.
You might need a Clipper if they have a top 2 defense.
Yeah, and he'd be the guy.
Rudy.
Oh, Rudy. Duh.
Gobert.
Rudy's getting on.
So that's what I'm saying about the centers. We've already named 4 centers.
I don't know if Draymond's kind of fallen off too much. It's going to be tough. I think it's going to be uphill. But if I had to bet right now, I would say that he will not make all defense.
I would agree with that. I would bet, though, the over that he will play one more game at least this season.
I would double down on that as well. All right, what's next?
Next up, this was more of a comical bet, but right now it's on pace to still go over. You're frozen, by the way. So if you want to, we'll remove you from the screen. And now you're back, John. No worries. You are back, sir. We're out of the matrix. How many games will Mikal Bridges play for the Knicks this season? 81.5. He has not missed a game this year. I would still hit the over, which both of you hit the over. That the Iron Man will continue his streak.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't the Iron Man continue his streak? He's made of adamantium, or maybe more accurately would be
he's got a suit of iron,
or what's the liquid metal that the T1000 was made of?
Oh, I don't know. Actually, I know the names of the thing. like of the machines, not.
Yeah, I don't know that it had a name. It was just liquid metal. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I'm going to look up real quick in terms of distance traveled. This season. So I don't know if I mentioned this in a recent newsletter. The Knicks have the 3 players that have traveled the most distance in the NBA this season, but the gap. So there's a gap between 1 and 2. Mikal is number 1. He has traveled 839,192 feet, which, if you're wondering, is 158.9 miles. That is how many miles Mikal Bridges has traveled in NBA games this season. The next closest in terms of miles is Josh Hart at 148.2 miles. So more than 10 miles less than Bridges. And then in third place is Jalen Brunson, who we should say has only missed 1 game. And he has traveled 141.8 miles this season. And then it gets much more bunched together. Like Tyler Hero's 140, Toumani Camara, the untradeable Toumani Camara, 139.9. And then after that, it's in like the 138s, 137s, and so on. But like Bridges and Hart are in their own. Bridges in his own tier, Hart's in his own tier, and then there's everybody else.
By the way, we went through a whole all defense conversation and didn't name a player on the Oklahoma City Thunder. So
Jesus.
Just that adds to the conversation that Anunoby is probably not.
Yeah, but that's an interesting one because Chet's obviously not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Lou Dort.
It's just Lou Dort. That's easy.
I mean, do you put SGA on?
No.
But as a token for the Thunder, I know he's not their best defender, but
what's tough about the Thunder is you could make cases for probably 4 different guys on the Thunder, and it'll be Dort. You're right, it'll be Dort, and that was a bad job by us that we didn't say his name. But it is very much a whole, like it is the collective there as opposed to like 1 or 2 outs, and maybe I don't know. Like the Celtics a couple of years ago, they had 5 players get either votes for all. I think 5 players get votes for all defense. I think it was when they were the number 1 defense. I think it was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. That'll be interesting. But yeah, OG Anunoby, very, very uphill battle.
Next up, how many games will Miles McBride and Precious Achiuwa start combined this year? They started a combined 50 last season, and this year,
and I guess
you both went under. The line was 49.5. Guess how many games they've started combined this season?
7, 6, 7,
6.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is gonna be
all 6 by Precious Achiuwa, by the way.
Who started? That's right. Cam started the game
because Deuce's hamstring came up barking, but he was slated to start.
Oh, that's right.
And then got pulled right before the starting 5 because he got hurt in warmups. So,
I hope this goes under.
I hope it's at 0. I hope it stays at 6 the rest of the season. Although it would be fun if they're locked into the 3 seed and we can get a full LA Fitness week the last 2 weeks of the season.
And which is interesting. I mean, they're like, look, I don't. A lot of things could happen between now and the end of the year. There is a possibility that because they play the. I think is it the Cavs twice and the Celtics once in the last 2 weeks of the season?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there's a possibility that both teams like punt on all those games. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Next up, how many 3-point field goals will the Knicks make this season? The line was 1,100 in Knicks history. I pointed to in their history how many times they had crossed 1,000, and it was the previous 3 seasons that they had crossed 1,000, where they were at 1082 the Evan Fournier first season. They were about 1030-ish the first Jalen Brunson season, and then they broke the record for threes in a season last year with 1083. They beat it by 1. This season, they're at 690, and both of you went over. So they have to hit 411 threes the rest of the season for the Knicks to hit the over here in their final 28 games.
I would say they're at 6 what?
690.
So they are not on pace to do this.
No, I don't think so.
They're not. They're on pace to probably fit, if my quick math is correct.
They're on pace. They need to hit 17 and a half a game the rest of the season, and they're hitting around 15.
And the other thing is, it's trending in the wrong direction. I think the most under discussed. Not that I shouldn't say that, it has been discussed, but I think given how
13, they're hitting around 13 this season.
Yeah, given how much this has taken a downturn, I do think it's kind of under discussed how they are just not taking threes anymore. I went back and looked in the month of November, they were like right around league average in 3-point attempts per game in terms of frequency of their total shot attempts. They've been I don't know if I checked it after the Hawks game. They were last in February up until the Hawks game, and they might still be last. Like, they're now bottom 5 in the league or bottom 6 in the league in terms of frequency of 3-point attempts. It has gone way down. I think they're still very high in corner 3 attempts, which is that like more important? Is it more enough? Like, it's just weird because their offense is still super efficient, and their 3-point percentage, despite some games where they can't make anything, is still very good, still top 5. Like, does it matter? I that's not a conversation we should have now, but I think it is an interesting conversation for if and when they get into a playoff series. I mean, specifically against the Celtics, but you could say the Cavs too, because the Cavs take a million threes. How much does it matter that they're just not taking above the break threes, like, at all? It feels like the answer is it does matter. I can't sit here right now and be like, yes, definitively, it of course matters because of X, Y, and Z. I don't know.
So the next one, speaking of the Celtics and the Cavs, how many 20-point wins will the Knicks have this season? The line is 13 and a half. Do you know how many they have this season, John Macri? Both of you took the over, by the way.
Off the top of my head, I don't. I'm going to guess 6.
So the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'll use the leaderboards right now. The Cleveland Cavaliers have 13.
Okay.
The Boston Celtics have 14. The Oklahoma City Thunder also have 14. And the New York Knicks have 13. So they're one more away from passing their over, or hitting the over for this season.
That's a terrible job by me. Maybe because of recency bias. I'm going to look it up right now. When's the last time they've had one of these?
So ironically, there's like, if you're just doing 20-point wins, they're 13, which is a lot. There's 3 or 4 that were up 30, and then garbage time got it to like 19 or 13. Like the Indiana game the other night.
Yeah.
Everybody checked out. They're up 23, and then they end up winning by 13. That's 6-0 run in garbage time.
I mean, so they
wasn't it the Memphis game?
So Memphis, it was back to back, the Memphis game and the Kings game, and before that, it was the Bucks game on January 12th. Before that, it was the Washington game, the second one. It was exactly a 20-point win. I'm gonna do a mea culpa, because if there's been a consistent theme for me on the post-game shows this year, it has been collectively as a fan base, I don't know that we're appreciating this team enough and like enjoying the good times and like reveling in like the stuff that is going well. And I just did the exact same fucking thing, because it's like I wasn't like I was intending to be wrong. I was like, oh no, there haven't been that many big wins. 13 20-point wins. That's a lot.
Yeah. The first 2.5 months of the season, the way they built up their net rating was just destroying the bad teams. Like how many? The conversation around the minutes was like, pull the plug, Tibbs. There wasn't just he's playing the guys too much. It was they're up 30 with 7 minutes left. Why is Josh Hart still in? Why is Cat still in? Why is OG still in?
Like the Grizzlies game and the Kings game, and even like relatively speaking, the Bucks game, like those games like just happened, and yet I know for me, speaking for myself, they are not nearly as present in my consciousness as the Celtics game or the Thunder, pick a Thunder game, or it's like the losses really do stand out, like 3 or 4 times as much or more with more power than the big wins this year, which is like I did the same thing. I can't blame anybody for that being the case. It's just I wish it wasn't the case.
Well, next up, speaking of how successful this season's been, how many All-Stars will the Knicks have this season? As you saw yesterday, Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns made it, which would mean the over hit. The line was 1.5. Both of you went over. So congratulations to both of you.
Good job by us.
Next up, how many times will a Knick score 40 points in a game this season? The line is 13.5. I believe that the line before this season that I set was, so the line is 13.5. I think the research I did before the season was that the 72-73 team did it, or that might have been during that might have been 20-point wins. Regardless, they have 10 so far this season.
So Cat and Brunson each have 5?
Cat and Brunson each have 4. No, Brunson has 3. Cat has 5.
And OG has
OG
1.
Anunoby against Mikal Bridges on Christmas Day. So I was wondering with the Obi top and dunk rim protection we had the other night if Josh Hart was going to get to 40 against the Pacers. But yeah,
this is going to be an over.
There's 4 more times it has to happen.
This is going to be an over. And
I would agree. It happens 4 more times the rest of the season.
I bet you Brunson gets at least 4 himself.
Oh, okay. 40 points is a lot. He's only got 3 this season. And you think he's going to get 4 more the rest of the season?
I do.
I love it.
I think he's coming on. So we both took the over?
You both took the under.
We both took the under?
Yep.
That's kind of embarrassed about that.
Well, either you're right or the Knicks or Jalen Brunson's right.
There you go.
I guess we'll see what happens. Next up, how many top 5 award finishes will the Knicks have this season? The line is 3.5. So who's in top 5 consideration? Cat and Brunson for MVP. What?
Please tell me I went under on this.
You both went over.
Really?
Yep. How many top 5 awards? Because Executive of the Year is in play, Coach of the Year, Clutch Player of the Year.
So, you know what? Hold on. Let's go back.
Man of the Year. The thought was that Deuce would get involved in it.
Brunson is going to get barring something insane, Brunson is going to finish top 3 in clutch. That's the most, that's the easiest.
And this is top 5, so he doesn't even have to finish top 3 in clutch. But yes, I agree with that. Me
and Fred talked about MVP stuff on the last pod. I would put it right now 51-49 that like one of the two, only because both of them have a legit chance to finish top 5. I think the odds are better that one of them does than neither of them does. But I also think there's absolutely a world where it just is going to be the top 2, Tatum, Mitchell, and
I think a Knick is going to finish 5th. I just don't know which one.
It's honestly, I think it depends a lot on Giannis. I think if Giannis gets the games played, I think more voters will put.
I agree. I'm calculating he's not going to.
It's up in the air right now. I think it rests on Giannis. I think if Giannis doesn't hit the criteria, a Knick is going to finish top 5. I think if Giannis does hit the criteria, it's like less than 50-50. So maybe I'll amend my thing. I think it's like 60-40. A Knick finishes top 5 in MVP. So that's 2. Deuce is not getting top 3 6 man. OG's not getting top 5 6 man. OG's not getting top 5 defensive player of the year. Tibbs is not getting top 5 coach. There's no, I love what Josh Hart's doing. He's not getting top 5 most improved. So then it would come down to
the under might hit here. Yeah, that's 2.
Well, exec, you might get.
Really?
They traded for a guy who might make first team All-NBA and finish top 5 MVP.
The Cat trade alone, I guess, gets him a top 5 consideration. I'm calculating that the Mikal Bridges thing has been an experience this year, and the reputation around it is like you gave up how many picks for a guy that people were wondering if he was playable for the first 2.5 months of the season.
Just this season, the campaign on the minimum, bringing Precious back, they will certainly get credit for the Deuce contract kicking in this year, even though it was signed last year. And also, we see this with the executive award. It is very much like the Oscars, where it's like it's your time. It's just a body of work award. So I think that voters may look at the larger Leon Rose project and give him maybe a little bit of extra credit. Again, I'm not saying he's going to win, but I think to finish top 5. But still, that's only 3. I think this is going to finish under.
I would agree also, because the Depoy conversation, I think there's no Nick finishing. Like, I'd be surprised if any Knicks get votes. Maybe someone puts Anunoby third on a couple ballots, but
there's only 3 spots on the ballot. I don't see Nick ending up on any ballots.
So honestly, that's why I think the under hits 2. The point I'm making about Leon is, like, you're right. He probably will finish with votes to get to like the top 5, maybe. I would imagine that Presti is going to win this, and now Rob Pelinka has entered the chat in the way he.
They're not going to give him it for fucking some idiot being drunk in Dallas.
I would argue taking advantage of the drunk idiot to get Luka Doncic is the most impressive. John, it might be the most impressive transaction in the history.
They're not
of the NBA.
Gonna. I'll bet you.
John, he got him to not say anything publicly. Like, we got to keep this a secret. Oh, you're right, Rob. I'll keep it a secret, Dad.
If they give Rob Pelinka the Executive of the Year award for taking advantage of
I would.
No.
John, he got Luka. This is you walking into the Apple store with no wallet and leaving with, like, the Apple Suite. Okay? Come on.
No, it's finding a $20 bill on the sidewalk and looking down and picking it the fuck up.
No, it's not, because you still then needed to take it from someone. It's going into. It's like if.
Fine.
It's like I went into your house and I wouldn't have to convince you to give me one of your kids.
No, it's like, to use the recent Rewatchables example. It's Ethan Hawke getting the bottle of wine and before sunrise.
Okay. Again, I'm trying to drive home the analogy that it's like, if you have the valuable asset in the conversation and I walk in and convince you that you now still have the most valuable asset when everybody else is like, wait, you did what?
Okay.
So that's why I think, and you didn't tell anybody else that the valuable asset you had was available.
It was available.
Because it had to keep it a secret, right? You only can tell me, right? People are going to be so anyway, yeah.
Presti's winning the award, but
I would agree. I think the Cleveland side of it too, but yes, I think it's Presti's award. How many games will the Knicks win this season? Line is 54.5. That was a Claudio Casino, FanDuel, BetUS, DraftKings, all the lines were 54.5. Do you want to know what you did before the season?
I'm pretty sure I went under.
You went over. Jeremy went under. You went over. Jeremy went under.
I have no credibility whatsoever, because I'm looking at it on our Patreon town hall, I said 53. I'm fairly certain I went on with Dex and with CP before the year, and I probably said 53 or 54. I went over on this
because the Stugatz is strong in you. You covered your bases. You went like over on here, under over there. You made sure your opinion was represented in multiple places. Like, I'm sure I went under on Game Theory, over on Knicks Film School, hit a push on Cats. Like, I went and made sure my opinion is covered.
This is a good one, because right now it's a 56 win pace.
Yeah, just about 55, 56.
Yeah.
They got to go 19-9 the rest of the season to hit the over.
It's weird because they don't have that many like complete I'm you guys, everybody listening to this knows me. I don't rule out a loss in any game, but if you look at objectively games that they should probably win, like easily, you got Chicago 1, Charlotte 2, Washington 3. Crazy that I can't include Portland in this, but I can. And the last game of the season against the Nets, although who the hell knows? So let's put it at 4, but that's 4 out of 28. So that means, by my calculation at least, there's going to be 24 games where they're going to have to like put on their big boy pants and really give it the old college try. If they go,
I believe in their college try for whatever it's worth.
I do too. I also think it's reasonable to expect, even if we assume like good, strong play from them, that like they go 14-10 in those 24 games.
That would get them to 18-10, which is 54 even.
I think that's probably where we're headed.
I've been thinking for maybe a couple weeks that they're going to finish the exact same record as the 2013, my beloved 2013 team. That we might be headed for that. There were just some annoying losses when they were still figuring things out the first 2.5 months. That is what's stopping this from being 58, 59 wins. Precious not playing the first 2.5 months. Deuce, that stretch where he was injured and they were shorthanded. The annoying two Pistons losses because they didn't guard Malik Beasley. The annoying losses that we're responsible for because we had events.
I'm looking at like the last week of the season. So actually, I'll go to the penultimate Sunday is versus Phoenix. It's crazy to say. It's possible Phoenix is out of it by that game. It's not off the table. After that would be Boston. Again, these are two weird coaches. Both of the coaches could like start all of their guys and play all of their guys 35 minutes, and we wouldn't be surprised. Or Maz could sit everybody. Tibbs could like play everybody the first quarter and then sit everybody. Then Detroit, you figure Detroit's going to be playing for something. The Knicks might not be. Then Cleveland's going to have, again, probably everything wrapped up. And then Brooklyn, I don't know. A lot of different things could happen.
Well, Brooklyn may be playing for the play-in at this point.
What are the likelier odds? Brooklyn is trying very hard to win the last game, or Brooklyn is trying very hard to lose the last game of the season?
Listen, odds are odds, though. Like, if they don't think that they will beat whoever to get to the 8th seed to lock them into the top 16 picks, right, or the back six, like to miss the lottery, I should say, then. Like, make the play-in. Like, who cares? Just make the play-in. You have top 10 odds.
I mean,
they're a game and a half out of the 10 seed right now. That's how bad the conference is.
Yeah, I'm looking at Chicago. How hard are they going to tank? Are they going to tank? I don't know what the hell. Nobody knows what the hell Chicago's going to do. Okay, are any more lines?
Two
more. Okay, let's get them.
How many teams will finish ahead of the Knicks in the East standings? The line is 3.5. Both of you, I believe, went under.
I hope I took the under.
Yep, both of you went under, and there are currently 2 teams ahead of the Knicks, and I would project that it is that number exactly, that the under hits and that it's 2.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe bet.
And the last one, how many playoff games will the Knicks win this season? The line is 8.5. Where do you see? Unfortunately, the way this is shaking out, they're gonna have to go through Boston to hit the over, or maybe fortunately. Catch them early. Not that it mattered because the 2 injury-prone players, Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis didn't play in the last game, but our injury-prone player, Anunoby, also didn't play. So,
what? Did I take the over?
Both of you took the over, but this would end up being Knicks Celtics in the conference finals, which is the calculation. Unfortunately,
what odds would somebody need to give you right now for you to bet the over on this?
Oh, plus 1,000. Like I'd need like 10-1.
That's high,
right? I wouldn't take plus 600. I think I'd be wasting money. Like if you're telling me I can win $1,000 if the Knicks make the conference finals, I'd take a shot on it.
I would do plus 800.
I'd take my wife out to dinner.
I would not do plus 5. I think it should be around like plus 6.
Are you saying what the odds would be, or what the odds would get me to take it?
Say what the odds should be.
You're right. Probably about 6 or 7-1. Yeah.
Because you're building again. You have to build in some. You have to factor in the first round, obviously. And also, it's not even guaranteed that they're like. You're banking in injury stuff. You're baking in all kinds of stuff. I think it's the odds would be like plus 650, plus 700, like that.
Okay.
I would take that bet.
The ceiling has been it's been driven home where it is. Like, this is how high the ceiling looks like it is. Not saying they can't beat the Celtics. Not saying I don't believe in this team. There's just a very clear wall between them and the Celtics. And I got to be honest, that wall isn't impenetrable against OKC. I'm just not ignoring the first 3 quarters of that game, which was like my favorite 3 quarters of the season, where they were in OKC up 14, and then they ran out of guys,
I think it's interesting that you phrased it that way. We'll get out of here a second ago, but should the conversation about this team be a ceiling conversation? Should it be a floor conversation, or should it be a baseline conversation? And like, that's very amorphous, and I don't know that there's a right answer. But like, to me, when you're the first words out of your mouth were the ceiling. To me, the ceiling is why I'm taking the bet, because I'm like, yeah, I think I have a lot of faith in the ceiling. My question is, how, like,
can they punch through it,
reach it? Well,
no, the ceiling I'm saying is like they're like at best the 3rd best team in the NBA, which is a really good team, like a contender.
To me, I disagree. To me, the ceiling is they could beat anybody in a 7-game series, which is let me rephrase that, because I don't. This is going to sound silly. I think their ceiling is they're just a better team than Boston. I just think Boston has so many more ways to get to being a better team than the Knicks, and the Knicks' path to being a better team than the Celtics is a much more narrow road.
Let's see what they look like with OG back against the Celtics on Sunday. Let's see what they look like with Mitch in the fold and that other way to potentially beat teams. Maybe, as far as my personal projection for this team, if my opinion of their chances against Boston change, I'm at the point of not conceding, because I want to see it happen. Basketball is meant to be played, not projected on a computer. But the Celtics, we said it all last year, built the perfect thing, and they would be favored in that series. I think they would win that series today. But let's see what happens. Maybe they can prove me wrong.
I think the ultimate question for a lot, and this is a question that says what kind of a sports fan you are, as opposed to what you think about this team. If you could sign right now for a tough game 7 loss in the Boston Garden in round 2,
the what?
If you could sign right now for a tough game 7 loss in round 2 to the Celtics,
in what building?
Sorry, in whatever fucking building the Celtics
TD Bank Arena. Yeah,
great. And then the Celtics go on to win their 2nd consecutive title. If you're a Knicks fan, would you sign for that right now? Under the guise of like, vibes going into the summer are really good. It's a tinker here, it's a tinker there. Boston gets a year older. Maybe they lose a guy because of ownership, apron concerns, whatever. And at least you've avoided disaster, which could potentially unnerve the foundation of what you've now painstakingly built over these 5 years.
I would consider the alternatives. I agree with you that, like, if I'm opening it up to the field and the field includes 1st round loss to,
I was about to say
Miami,
all the
then yes, I would probably sign up for that. I still would want to see. I wouldn't sign anything. I would want to see it play out. Like, look, I think Boston would win, but like, let me see it.
That's really, you want to know if you're the type of sports fan that does care about that stuff, that does think about like vibes and organizational, all that kind of stuff. If you're that type of person, how you answer that question, that's the question where it's like, okay, what do you really think about this team? Because I do think there are a lot of people that would say, no, screw that, I'm not signing for that, even if they are someone that cares about that stuff. Like, no, I think we can beat the Celtics. I don't know. I'd have to think about that more, but we'll maybe revisit that question another time, because I got to get out of here.
I know you do. Just last thing I'll say, I'd love for one of these Celtics games where the Knicks play that this is one of their unserious games, so I can be instilled with some confidence. Like the game before they played the Knicks, they lost to the Luka-less, Kyrie-less, AD-less Mavs at
Ridiculous.
home. And I was like, oh, so this is the team that we're playing. And then they looked like world beaters, and Peyton Pritchard couldn't miss a shot. And, Max Christie, Max Christie cooked them one game, and then we play them, and Cat can't get anything going. So I'd love to just like get an unserious Celtics performance against the Knicks, but they seem to get up for us. So we'll see what happens on Sunday. Hopefully some vibe reversals and some confidence is instilled.
Thanks, everybody, for checking out another episode of the Knicks Film School Podcast. We will be back with more funny games before you know it. Hope everybody is enjoying their break, and peace out.